Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. This Shabbos, we're going to be doing two portions, Acharei Mos and Kedoshim. I hope everybody is safe, everybody is healthy. Parshas Kedoshim begins, Moshe Rabbeinu addresses all of Klal Yisrael, men, women, and children, and he says, Kedoshim tihiyu, we shall be holy. Ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokeichem, for I, the Lord your God, I am holy. This is what the Almighty says to us, that Klal Yisrael has the potential and the ability and the responsibility to attain a level of sanctity. Now that is a very lofty request. How do we do this? The Parsha has 51 mitzvahs. Very first mitzvah is Ish imay v'yoviv tirayu. Man, his mother and his father he shall revere. Not just respect, that we have in the fifth commandment, but it says here it's yira. There should be an awe or reverence. V'yeshabsoisai tishmeiru. And my Shabbos we should observe. We shall have a Shabbos. So this is a very beautiful mitzvah. But why is this the number one mitzvah? Maybe that's not a very difficult question because, after all, honoring and revering parents, they brought us into this world, it's fundamental. But honoring parents is the fifth commandment. Shabbos is the fourth commandment. Perhaps it should have said we should observe the Shabbos and revere our parents. Why do we have this order over here? In addition, we find later on in the Parsha, it says, Al techalel es bitcha lahaznoisa. Do not desecrate your daughter that she shall go astray, path that is astray. And the very next verse states, Es shabsoisai tishmeiru. And my Shabbos we shall observe. Umikdashe tirayu. And my temple we shall be in awe. Why does the Torah have to mention Shabbos again? Just said it back at the beginning of the portion. And what is the connection with the temple? So Rashi tells us that one might think that the construction of the temple takes precedence over Shabbos observance. Therefore, the verse says, no, first and foremost, my Shabbos we should observe. And that means even in regard of constructing and building the temple, we do not do so on the Shabbos. It's very beautiful. But again, the Mefarshim, the commentaries ask, that why is that here? It could have been in the beginning of the portion, when the portion said, revere our parents, observe the Shabbos, and be in awe of the temple. And then we would have known that the Shabbos takes precedence over the construction of the temple. Why is it necessary to have a separate verse? And why does this verse follow the commandment that tells us not to desecrate our daughters? And what does that mean, don't desecrate our daughters? How do we understand this? We find that at the beginning of Parshas Shmos, the book of Exodus, it says, V'yele Shmois. So these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. Yaakov came, Ishu Beisai. Each man in his household, they came to Egypt. What does it mean they came, each man in his household? To tell us that it wasn't just Yaakov and his sons, but they brought their wives and they brought their children. Is this necessary to be stated? Who would think that Yaakov came with his sons and they left their families behind? And after all, Yaakov was, when Jewish people were in Egypt for 210 years. They're going to leave their families? Obviously, they came with their families. What is the Torah telling us? We know that when Yaakov learned that he was going down to Egypt, in Parshas Vayigash, when he learned that Yosef was alive, and indeed that Yosef was the viceroy, the master of the entire Egyptian empire, and that Yosef said to his father, come, and here I will support you and your entire family and everyone. It says that Yaakov went to Beersheba, And there he brought offerings unto God, and God came to him and said, Al tira merda Mitzrayim, do not be afraid to go down to Egypt. From here we see that indeed Yaakov was extremely concerned about going to Egypt. Why? Why was he so afraid about going to Egypt? Because Yaakov knew what was said in Parshas Acharei Mos, this week's portion. Towards the end of Acharei Mos, we have the prohibitions of incestual relationships. And they are introduced by a verse in which God says, like the land, like the behavior and the deeds of the land of Egypt, of which you are leaving, you shall not do in the land of Israel. And what are those behavior patterns? Incestual relationships. The Egyptians and their culture was so depraved, it was so immoral, that Yaakov, when he learned that he had to go to Egypt, this is where the exile that was prophesied to Abraham, this is where it shall take place. Yaakov was stricken with fear. In Egypt, how will my children, how will my descendants be able to retain their moral purity when they are going to be immersed in the filth and the dung of the Egyptian culture? And Hashem said, don't be afraid, I will be with you. And with that, Yaakov is prepared to continue his journey to go to Egypt. But Yaakov realized that he must take the necessary steps in order to preserve the moral purity of Klal Yisrael. And this, the Kli Yakar in Parshas Shmos tells us, is the meaning of Ishu Beisei Ba'u. That when Yaakov went down to Egypt, he went each man with his household, his family. Because Yaakov was instructing his children that if we are going to combat the disease of immorality and depravity that surround us, it can only be done, the vaccine is found within family. When children have parents who can be the role models and can instill within their children the knowledge and appreciation and the respect for morality and ethical behavior, then and only then can we hope to combat this infection, this disease of the immoral Egyptian culture. That's the meaning of Ishu Beisei Boyu. They came and they came prepared with the vaccine, family. The Torah is telling us that Kedoshim Tihiyu, we have an opportunity, the ability, we were chosen that we should be able to achieve a level of sanctity. What is sanctity? Sanctity means that we are impervious. We are separate from all of the influences of the immorality and the distractions and the unethical behavior, that we can be indeed the light unto the nations, as the prophet says. How do we achieve this? What a massive burden to carry. The Torah is telling us, first and foremost, to be able to achieve sanctity, ish imay v'yovav tirayu. We must not only respect, but we should be in awe of our parents. Why? Not just because they brought us into this world. Animals bring their children into this world. But parents are not only the role models, they are the ones who form and fashion our very personalities and character. They are the ones who create the environment in which they instill within us, within their children, the knowledge of God, the knowledge that we have a purpose for our existence, the knowledge that we have a lofty responsibility and opportunity in this world, They instill within us the appreciation for moral behavior, what's right, what's wrong, ethical behavior. When we realize, look what our parents are giving us. They're giving us a purpose to live. They're giving us an opportunity to realize there's a world to come and there's an eternity and that we have holy souls. Our parents are informing us, teaching us. They're the role models. They're educating us. They're not just the ones who are paying for our education and straightening our teeth and buying us clothing and things that we need. Those are transitory things. Our parents are the ones who are shaping our neshamas, our souls, and they're giving us, they're opening the portal to all eternity for us, allowing us to feel what it means to be a Jew, chosen to receive God's Torah, to worship and to serve our Creator, and to do so in a joyous way. A way which is instructed through the loving and caring element of family. That's where we find our Kedusha. But wait a second. That's nice for children. How do parents do this? Parents are busy. They have the responsibility of working. Today, most families, you have both parents are working. In addition to taking care of all the needs of the home, the shopping, the cooking, the cleaning, whatever is necessary. And parents, how are they able to do this when they are immersed in their work from 6 a.m. and they might come home and they work later on and then they're exhausted? How do parents do this? The verse says, be in awe of your parents and observe my Shabbos. Shabbos is a day in which we take all of our responsibilities and we put them aside. We're not interested in the phone calls. We're not interested in the text messaging. We're not interested in what's on the television or what's going on. Shabbos, this is when we discover who we really are. Shabbos, this is family. We come together, we eat, we take our time. Nobody's in a rush. We can talk, we can listen, we can laugh, we can discuss what we learned in school. We talk about the parsha, we talk about what's happened during our week. Children listen to parents, they see how they interact, they listen to their banter and their love and their affection. They see the beauty of a Shabbos. They realize that there's something more important than our mundane existence of just working and feeding ourselves and taking care, but there's a Shabbos. Everything stops. Today is Shabbos. Today is the day that we testify that God is the creator and the master of the universe and all that exists. That's what Shabbos is. Day of testimony. Children see this and they rejoice. And we sing at the Shabbos table. If we can talk Torah thoughts, how beautiful. And if we can't, we can sing. We can sing Zmiris. We don't know Zmiris, sing anything. It should be joyous. Shabbos is the joyous family occasion that binds us generations. Therein, children see that their parents indeed live a life of something of a higher calling, a morality, and ethics. When we see this and we realize what our parents are giving us, we should be in awe. And that awe and appreciation for the identity they are giving us and placing within us, that enables us to achieve the sanctity. And this is why the verse says, do not desecrate your daughter that she should go astray. Don't raise your daughter thinking that her goal in life is to be objectified and to just be beautiful. That's a nice thing. Who doesn't want their daughter to be beautiful? Who doesn't want to be attractive and nice looking? But that's tangential. The essence of the human being for our daughters is to realize that she is going to be the Akeres Abayis, the one who builds the home. What does it mean, a home? It means the home that Yaakov instructed his children to create, a moral, ethical, loving, happy home, filled with the knowledge of God and our great privilege to serve him. And how do we do this? Prevent the objectifying of our daughters as Shabsoisai Tishmeiru. The reason why Shabbos is mentioned here a second time is because this is the means by which we can instill within our children that there is more to life than just the physical appearance and the external desires that seem to sweep over us. And Mikdoshai Tiroyu, my temple be in awe of. Shabbos we have every week. The temple has been in ruins, it's been destroyed. But Shabbos is also a temple. And there's the temple of our families. You know, in religions, the service and ceremony is relegated to a house of worship. In Judaism, a house of worship, that's where you have your minyan. If we can't go to the house of worship, you can make a minyan somewhere else. But the home, that's where we have Shabbos. The home, that's where we have Pesach. The home, this is where we learn from previous generations what it means to be a happy, healthy, well-adjusted Jew. That's what the Torah is showing us. The Torah is showing us Yaakov Ishu Beisai. We need to be with family. Family, that's the vaccine. When Yaakov was returning from 20 years with Lavan, and he was going to his father, and Esav came with an army of 400 men. Torah tells us 400 men he came with. What did Yaakov do? He took each of his children and put them with their mother, and he went in front of them. What was the purpose of Yaakov taking each of his children, putting them with their mother? Leah with her sons, and Dinah, Rachel and her son, Bilhah, Zilpah with their sons, and Yaakov went in front. What would be the difference if they'd all be together? 400, the Baal HaTurim tells us, is the numerical value of Ayin Ra. Esav came either to fight a war or give an evil eye unto Yaakov. And Yaakov knew what's the preventive measure, what is the vaccine against an evil eye? When children are with their mother and their father is there too. He didn't want them all together. When a child is with his mother, from whom he can learn, who he can revere, from who he sees the ethics and the decency and the morality and the purity and the sanctity. Such children, there's no ayin hara. There will not be an evil eye. This is what the Torah is revealing to us. This is Kedoshim. This is the sanctity of Klal Yisrael. Where is it found? It's found in our families. Certainly, the last few weeks, who knows how many more weeks, many of us are home with our families, with our children, and it's quite understandable if sometimes a mother or father would like to lock themselves in the closet and to just find a little respite from the constant exposure with their children. This is quite normal. But what a bracha, what an opportunity for our children to learn and see, be with their mother and father. An infant is home with them, with their parents, their mother all day. Then they go to school. Then we get a job. Then we get married. Then we're away. What an opportunity now for children to see their parents, the role models, the teachers of morality, dignity, ethical behavior, decency, sanctity, and purity. This is our opportunity at this moment. Hopefully we'll take advantage, and God willing, we'll have an end to this element and be able to continue the same education back in our regular, normal behavior. I wish everybody a good Shabbos. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay Jewish.